hot food coming soon, so it's a good day. Anyway, welcome to Gears and Gadgets. I'm Marty Hockenberg, and I'm the founder of this group and president of Hockenberg Search. So if you are a manufacturing professional, you are definitely in the right place. Now, out of curiosity, who has attended a Gears and Gadgets program before? Just raise your hands. Oh, wow, I'd love to see all of our friends back again. And how many of you are here for the first time? New crowd, welcome. We're really, really glad you're here and hope you'll join us again. Just a little bit of background about Gears and Gadgets, since so many of you are new here. In 2012, I founded this program to create synergies in our manufacturing industry. Because we all know that manufacturing is the backbone of our American economy, and it greatly contributes to making and keeping America great, right? Today marks a milestone birthday for Gears and Gadgets. We turn the big 3-0. This is our 30th Gears and Gadgets program. So happy birthday to us, and hopefully you saw our slideshow, our trip down memory lane of our previous Gears and Gadgets programs. Together we have created the premier networking group for manufacturing professionals, and I'm really grateful for all of your support. And a lot of you have been attending Gears and Gadgets since the beginning. I also want to take the opportunity to thank our generous sponsors team. Our sponsor team is amazing, and they have been personally vetted by me for their dedication to serving your manufacturing company with high standards, expertise, and integrity. Each sponsor has the Good Housekeeping Hockenberg seal of approval as a trusted business partner. And you know, I really encourage you to meet our sponsors during our reception. They're a really good resource for you. And right now, I want to take a minute to introduce 6 of our sponsors, and I'll also introduce 3 of them at the conclusion of our program. The first sponsor to introduce is The Resultants, and they've been with us almost since the beginning for about 6 years. Businesses feel stuck because they're maxed out. The Resultants have lived that, failed, learned, and grown. They advocate for the best interest of your business so it can move further and faster to thrive and sustain over time. Along with their years of experience owning and running multiple businesses, maybe like some of you out there, they use EOS. Probably a lot of you use that too. And the Value Builder system to align your organization around the same vision and values, all working toward the same achievable goal. And representing the Resultants are Steve Wilcox, Steve here? Not yet. Jerry Olson, Chad Haldeman, Peter Beaumont, and Katie Pierce. Next, I'd like to introduce and make you familiar with DS&B CPA and Business Advisors and Rock Island Wealth Management. DS&B is a Minneapolis-based firm dedicated to serving manufacturing business leaders with accounting, audit, employee benefits, tax, technology, and wealth management services. And what makes them different is their focus on being a team of connected, proactive, and accessible CPAs. They can help you with business planning, growth, and year-round advice for better financial management and better decisions. Please introduce yourself later and ask, how will tax reform impact your business, both good and bad, this coming year? And representing DS&B are Clint Sehusen, Justin Robinette, and Mitch Stolba, from Rock Island Wealth Management. Thank you. Next, core talent. Boy, this is another resource that you need to know, because who isn't hurting for a labor shortage, right? I think all of the companies here are looking for really good talent. And core talent's purpose is to accelerate business growth through great people. And they do this by helping clients find, select, and retain top talent. Their services include retained search, strategic HR consulting, hiring assessment, and an automated recruitment platform. And in the manufacturing industry, they have partnered with many companies to find positions from labor to executive, ensuring production doesn't falter and positively affecting your bottom line. And core talent, they get the people part right. And representing core talent today are Mary Nutting, Andrew Kuderer, and Laura King. Great. And then next up we have Gallagher. Gallagher is an international insurance brokerage and risk management services firm, an industry-leading provider of employee benefits, consulting, and consulting services. Through Gallagher Better Works, their comprehensive approach to benefits, compensation, retirement, employee communication, and workplace culture that is holistically focused on organizational well-being, they'll help you align your people strategy with your overall business goals. Because while your best is finite, your better is never finished. And representing Gallagher today are Mick Hennepin, Mike Bauman, and Mike O'Brien. Thank you. These are great sponsors, and they make this all possible. And then we have Panelists Marketing. Did you all see this Gears and Gadgets guide post at your place? This is their creation. So if you're looking for a good marketing services firm, this is the company to call. Panelists helps all manufacturing companies tell their story with one strong, clear voice. They offer decades of industry experience and absolute dedication to service, product, and results. Panelists works with you to create a marketing solution that fits your needs and brings you the professional cutting-edge design you're looking for. The owner, Adam Johnston, couldn't be here today, but representing Panelists is Chris Zastapil. And I think I pronounced that correctly, right?
Correct.
Great. And by the way, please take this home. This is going to be a great resource for you, and you will find the agenda for our program on page 3. And then finally, a little bit about me, Hockenberg Search. I provide executive outplacement and executive career transition services where I work with clients to develop and execute a strategic job search campaign to land the right job faster. I'm a recovering recruiter. Yes, there's a 12-step program for that. Right, Mary?
Yeah.
And a bar, too. And I have an insider's understanding of how executive hiring decisions are really made. And that knowledge, along with my successful track record for placing hundreds of manufacturing executives, make me uniquely qualified to lobby for job seekers to find the right job. Now today, our amazing program is about robotics. To start with, and I know we have a lot of experts in the room, it's chock full of robotics experts. I want to test your knowledge about robotics. I have 2 questions. First, what is a robot's favorite kind of music? Anybody? Bueller? Heavy metal. Bueller, you guys? The next one. Okay, we'll see if you get this one. What did the automation engineer say to his dead robot? Rest in peace. I won't be quitting my day job. So now, but back to the program. We are hosting a program on robotics because, look at this. This is amazing. This is our record attendance for Gears and Gadgets. Obviously, this is a hot topic. Pew Research tells us that even though there is a fast uptick in automation, over 70% of Americans are still wary and concerned about robots in our workplace replacing American jobs. Manufacturing business owners have a lot of questions about investing in robotics, their ROI, how to take the first step, etc. We have assembled a panel of robotics experts to share their expertise and advice for you, manufacturing business owners. And I just want to personally thank Kevin with Mashuga, Manufacturing Technology from Graco, Carl Dukeson, Global Robotics Automation Engineering from 3M, leader from 3M, Todd Bauernfield, President at Summit Machine, and Matt Pike, Director of Engineering at Tesla. Thank you all so much for coming today. Really, I know how busy you are making those robotics and getting Americans on board with it, so thanks for taking the time to come here today. Now, we have a great panel moderator. This is really a special guest. It's E.J. Daigle. E.J. is the Dean of Robotics and Manufacturing at Dunwoody College of Technology in Minneapolis, and that's a household word, isn't it here? E.J. manages an academic department made up of 6 core manufacturing programs and over 300 full-time students. Programs include automated systems and robotics, electronics engineering technology, engineering drafting and design, machine tool technology, and welding and metal fabrication. And EJ is a FANUC certified robotics instructor with additional credentials in PLCs, machine vision, and motor controls. EJ, please come up to the podium to kick off the panel, and please give him and
thank you, Marnie, for that. It doesn't sound like me. I didn't think I was that cool. It sounds really cool. So, I gotta do a real quick thing here though first. So, doing my math real quick here. There's over 100 years of experience between these panelists in automation and robotics. So I don't think you're going to get a better panel as far as what we're capable of answering today. So I've got a few questions we're going to kick this off with. And I'll ask each of the panelists here as I get it going here, just give us a brief introduction as far as your role at your company. Try to limit that because we're going to try to do a lot more talking about robotics. But I'll start it off with Carl Dukeson. Maybe you can just give us a real brief introduction as to your role at 3M.
Yeah, EJ, it's great to be here in Minneapolis. I'm a kid that grew up in Golden Valley, Minnesota, and I've had a chance to live around the world working for 3M. I guess in 4 countries if you include the U.S., but working with robotics on the laboratory front, but also across our vast industrial customer base to make sure we're seeing a big shift to our customers more and more. It's not so much the human operator, it's more and more a robot arm that's using or consuming the 3M products. So that's really my focus right now on our customers.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to start you off with the first question here, Carl. Given that experience at 3M and abroad in other countries, can you talk a little bit about some of the unique applications you've seen for robotics, perhaps unique projects or processes or things you've seen across the world?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'll frame this question up in one of my favorite areas is this whole debate around high mix, low volume versus the low mix, high volume. And so one of the most unique applications I've had a chance to see, I did live in China for 5 years, and I've visited hundreds of plants around the world, and but there, I usually ask when I walk into a plant, I'll ask, how many shifts are you running, how many employees do you have? And for me, and 3M, big plant is a few hundred employees, 500 employees, maybe 1,000 employees, and I was at a Foxconn plant in Shenzhen, and the guy said, we have about 70,000 employees, and this is one of our smallest plants. And, okay. But this was maybe 10 years ago, and I went out onto the shop floor and saw hundreds of operators doing manual sanding, and just in brutal conditions, of course. And had a chance to come back to that same factory 5 years later, all robots. Robots for as far as you could see, polishing the frames of mobile phones, of course, that end up getting exported out of China. That very, very unique, classic, low mix, high volume. I think this is the mother of all low mix, high volume applications. But at the other end of the spectrum, kind of again, high mix, low volume, and a tier supplier to Daimler that makes the seats for the S-Class Mercedes. And if you didn't realize it, underneath the leather is a coconut fiber. Apparently, coconut fiber has fabulous, breathability characteristics. And this supplier was shaving off the fuzz of coconut fiber with a very aggressive sander belt, 3M, Cubitron 2 abrasives, razor sharp. But the force control had to be such that it's only applying consistently 5 newtons around that seat, or it would just rip it to shreds. So I think that's an example of an application no one would have ever thought of a few years ago as something you could automate.
Very, very cool. Next, I'm going to ask Todd Bauernfeind to introduce himself and maybe tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
Thanks, EJ. So, grew up in the Faribault, Minnesota area. Got involved in automation in some packaging industries back in the late 1980s, early 90s, and have been with Summit for 20 years. In the 25 years of working in the custom automation industry, the biggest reoccurring theme I have seen is machines that don't perform to specification. Either that or they're late, or they're total failures. And so now, as my role at Summit, I spend my time educating people about a process, a better process, to avoid those pitfalls and mitigate the risk of purchasing automation.
Well, I'm gonna give you the next question here, Todd. Considering the shortage of skilled labor that's out there right now, can you talk a little bit about how robots, automation, semi-automation can assist with manufacturing productivity?
Sure, and you know, it's not just a shortage of skilled labor, but it's a shortage of labor. It seems the people are struggling to meet deadlines and have to turn down sales opportunities because they don't have the resources to meet the demand. Utilizing robotics and flexible automation solutions can help fill a lack of human resources. Robots or flexible automation can increase throughput, reduce operator skill, increase overall equipment effectiveness, and reduce maintenance costs. The primary reason for utilizing robots and automation is to mitigate risk. It's a proven technology designed to perform a certain range of tasks. It's important to consider the software, the hardware, and understand how well all these devices will integrate and communicate with other devices in the system. It's also important to understand that when buying custom automation, the most expensive thing you are buying is the engineering. Utilizing proven technologies such as robots will help minimize both engineering hours and overall project risk. The price of robots continue to fall. You know, today you can buy a Stera robot for around $7,500. That's pretty good compared to just not very long ago. And we can use these in all levels of automation, including manumation and semi-automated cells. Labor shortage has really made us focus in two areas, creating automation that requires less skilled operators while increasing throughput. This is especially true in semi-automated or manumation cells that require a person to be integrated into the operation cell. Utilizing robotics help mitigate that risk in the design and integration while generally shrinking the footprint of the equipment, which in clean rooms is a premium. And the last time I checked, you didn't have to worry about whether a robot showed up for work or not.
Very good, very good. Next person I've introduced to my left here is Kevin Mashuga. I do want to call out though Kevin from Graco, right? You brought one of my former alumni, Kim, back here. So Kim was sitting in my PLC class. How long ago, Kim? She doesn't even know. About 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. So I actually was fortunate enough to see one of my alumni sitting here as well. But Kevin is the Manufacturing Technology Manager at Graco, and I'll let you introduce yourself here to start off.
Okay, I've been with Graco for 16 years. My first automation project was about 12 years ago, and I've been doing that ever since. More recently, I started working, transferred to our Minneapolis division, where I manage our tool design and automation groups. We're responsible for all robotic installations, automation, and we also design and build and program all of our own test equipment for our factory group. So everything that we build, we test.
Very cool. So, given your experience, Kevin, working with the various trades, I know you guys do machining, you do welding, you do painting at Graco. Yep. And I know Marty mentioned this when we started here. Can you talk a little bit about the skeptics, the workers, both before and after an install?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, there's always going to be skeptics whenever you bring in something new like that, especially if you're just getting started in automation. People are going to be skeptical about the technology that has the capability of taking their place. And I encountered that with my first automation project 12 years ago. First of all, people didn't think it could be done by a robot. The assemblers, it was an assembly project. The assemblers did not think it would be possible to do it. There were too many special circumstances and things like that. They need to be inspected. And they were also very concerned about what are they going to do once the robot's running. So with management support, I told them they're not going to give you a pink slip at the end of this. They're going to be doing something else, something hopefully less tedious and less repetitive. And at the end of the project, when we started to get it going, they started asking me if the robot could run their parts that night, because they didn't want to do it, they hated that job. And it was a super fast-paced job, and saw the robot could do it. And I think it's important for the employees to know that they're not going to lose their job. If you start handing out pink slips at the end of a project, people aren't going to be very cooperative. They're not going to help. They're going to actually probably help it fail. So that's been very important. There are also, speaking of skilled trades, gaps in availability of people there, we had a more recent project where we needed help on our paint line. Some of our painters were actually getting worn out from the fast pace of like 3 dozen of our jobs. Their parts come down so fast, they can only be in the booth for 2 hours because they wear out their shoulders, they get repetitive motion injuries. We've had people that had to have surgery, so we decided to put a robot in that booth. And that project was supported really by them from day one. So big change in perception. People realize now at Graco, after 15 or so years of automation, that the robots oftentimes are doing the worst parts of their job, the parts that they don't like to do. Anything that's super repetitive, that's what the robot's going to do. And then they're going to become, in often cases, they become the robot handler, and they usually like that. Or else they're doing some other higher mix, low volume jobs alongside it.
And then our fourth panelist here, Matt Pike, Director of Automation and Engineering at Tesla. I do got to get a little funny story. Somebody walked up to me when I was out in the lobby here and said, "How'd you get that guy from Tesla on board?" And I had to respond, I'm sure the guy from Tesla saying, "How'd you get that guy from 3M on board?" So I just kind of, and if you're wondering, so Matt, it's just fun to talk about Tesla, right? So Matt did, for a period of time, report directly to Elon Musk, right? Is that right? So you got to make sure you find him, have a beer with him, and get the stories about Elon when we're out in the lobby after this. But I'll let Matt go ahead and introduce himself, talk a little bit about your role.
Sure, thanks, EJ. I'm from Minnesota originally, and I actually started my career at 3M. I worked at 3M for 12 years. I worked in a couple of different plants, and I had thought I would continue my career with 3M. But I had an opportunity in 2003 to join a very small company, 30 people at the time, Perfix. At that time, it was a machine shop. And I left a Fortune 500 company, and I joined a very small company. I wanted that experience, and we were fortunate at Perfix. We grew into automation, and we did well. I was there for 14 years. In 2017, we were acquired by Tesla. Tesla, at that time, we had done some really good work for Tesla. I mean, this is that alignment of hard work and opportunity, right? We had done really good work, and they had me confused with somebody else. And they put me in as director of automation development for Tesla. Since then, I have spent the lion's share of my time in the Reno and Fremont facilities, trying my best to fulfill that role. We still have the facility here in Brooklyn Park, where we do automation technology development. We still have 180 people there working full-time on automation technology development for Tesla.
Very cool, very cool. And a question for you there, Matt. I know there's a bunch of manufacturers in here that maybe are looking to automate or looking at robotics as a possible solution. What internal assessment might a smaller manufacturer apply to determine if a robotic solution makes sense for them?
Sure. The easy answer is to conduct an ROI. And an ROI, our automation solution, as an accounting practice, I think is interesting, but it's not compelling. It's compelling when it is compared to a strategic manufacturing plan for your business. I suspect most of you have done business plans before, or seen them or read them. Who we are, where are we going, how are we going to get there, right? And those are all focused around sales. Those are the numbers that you're going to look at. Not a lot of time is spent on margin or operations and increasing your margins through reduction of operation costs. So if you have a marketing or a strategic plan for automation, you may have a plan for an infrastructure for robotics. You should. You may have a plan for growth on a particular production line or a need for flexibility along a particular production line. Those are the intangibles that really drive the solutions for robotics into your company. So I would encourage everybody to do an ROI on an automation project, but do right next to that, create a strategic plan for manufacturing automation, because that will drive whether or not that makes a solution. And the ROI can lead you to a conclusion that may not support the direction of manufacturing, what your company is going to look like in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. So I would start there. If I'm going to look at an ROI, I've worked with a lot of companies when I worked with Perfects about ROI and projects that we were looking at, and I do it a little bit differently. I try to simplify it, put it into buckets that are really tangible. And the first one I would call a power on bucket, not the cost of the project. The cost of the project is going to be what you get quoted from a supplier. It's going to be the cost of materials that you come up with internally. But if you think about it as power on, if you think about every cost that you're going to have right up until you're making production, then you're going to include rigging, shipping, facilities, training, first run tooling, first run spares, everything that goes into it. So you really need to capture what I call power on. And then look at your existing operating expenses and capture every operating expense that you have, including maintenance, including fallout from raw materials. Those don't fall into cost of goods sold. Once it's scrapped, it's not a cost of goods sold, it's a cost of operations, right? And get every cost you can. And I would always put it down in dollars per hour. For running this particular area, the way we do it today, it's going to be $200 an hour to run this. And then I would look at the automation solution. We're going to work out some labor. We're going to work out some maintenance, we hope. We're going to work out some scrap, and now we're going to be able to run at $150 an hour. Don't forget power. If you have a 20 kilowatt robot solution, not unheard of at all, 12 cents, 10 cents a kilowatt hour, you get $2 an hour that you're going to run just on power alone and other facilities. Now, if you have those three buckets, you can take a delta between your existing operating costs and your predicted operating costs, and you're going to get $1 an hour revenue that you will be generating through this investment. Now you can apply that to how many shifts you run, how long you run, and you can compare that to how quickly your return will be. And you can do one more thing when you do it that way. And you can cut some corners, because you can say, if I had an automation solution, let me do my operating cost comparison. I'm going to save $50 an hour. I'm going to do a 2,000 hour a year. I'm going to have a $100,000 return on this. If the term of this project looks like 2 years or more, we're looking at a 2-year payback. So now the question is different. Can I get automation for $200,000 that solves what I'm looking for here? And now you don't have to go through the long quoting process. You don't have to put a child through a long process of quoting something that isn't going to come to be, right? You can ask up front, does this match where the automation is? So if anybody wants to talk more about that, I'd be happy to.
Very cool, very good. Carl, this question's for you here. So can you speak to the concern, you mentioned in your first answer there, that robots are really only for low mix, high volume applications? Are there solutions available for those, like some of the smaller manufacturers that might do a lot of different applications, or a high mix with low volume?
I have short answer, absolutely. Long answer, things are changing, I would say, in the robotics industry. I mean, one example is like, Kevin mentioned for sure, if it's extremely dangerous or dirty, dangerous, or demeaning sometimes the jobs, that's perfect for a robot, and it doesn't have to be high volume. There's a couple, I'd say there's three forces, converging in the robotics industry right now on this topic. The first is, like I mentioned, the electronics industry in China arguably is saturated with robots. All that low-hanging fruit of low-mix, high-volume broadly has been penetrated, and the poor robot companies are battling it out, with all those purchasing people, and sometimes not making any money on the sale of a lot of robots. So the robotic industry itself is very interested in this space. How big is it? There's been all kinds of estimates that it could be just as big or bigger than the current installed base of industrial robots. However, that dynamic, that force is at work. The robotics industry and the component suppliers are chasing this space and looking at jobs and opportunities to make some premium margins if they can crack this nut. So that's going The sheer economics, like Todd mentioned, I mean, 10 years ago, you're looking at $100,000 really for a robot that was okay. Now, even better robot for probably about $20,000. So then the ROI changes dramatically. And then the last thing is just the ability, or maybe more so the agility of robots to adapt in these situations where there can be extreme part variability. So again, thanks to advancements in machine vision, sensors, certainly in many of our businesses, active force control or compliance, the robots can adjust for a certain amount of variability, and that amount of variability that they can handle is really, it's increasing. So again, there's nothing to be ruled out when it comes to at this stage, and it's getting, again, the industry is getting better and better at this high mix, low volume.
My next question is going to be for Todd down here. Todd, if a customer, if one of these folks approached you with a potential project, how do you help to design a solution that embraces the current technology but also mitigates risk?
Really, it's process. All too often, people think that process begins when they, select a vendor and kick off the, whatever machine they're going to build. But the real process begins when you're looking for and selecting who you're going to work with to do that process. Mitigating risks. Picking the right partner is the first place to start. If you pick the wrong partner, most likely you won't get the success that you're looking for. When you talk about the ROI, what happens when the machine only produces, 80% of what the manufacturer told you that it was going to produce? How does that change your ROI? Maybe it doesn't cost justifying. I see these things day in and day out, overpromise and underdeliver. And so, the process really begins with picking the right partner to build this equipment for. I would say the traditional corporate structure of going out and getting bids is fundamentally flawed when it comes to purchasing this type of technology. It really drives you to opposite goals, and really what you're looking for is to have aligned goals to work with them as a partner so that you arrive at at a common goal of a successful piece of equipment. And and it's okay, they're in business for profit as well. It's okay that they make a little bit of money. Technology is one of the keys to mitigating that risk. Once you've chosen a partner and you get into working towards the solution, technology does mitigate that risk. Using proven technology like robots to eliminate engineering time, that reduces risk. No one can be an expert at everything. So, who you choose as a partner, they need to leverage their relationships with their vendors, to give their expertise. I don't build robots, I buy robots, right? I'm not the robot expert, sitting up here, supposed to be an expert, right? That's not what we do. We integrate those robots into a solution. So, leveraging those relationships. A common mistake I see is that people think at the beginning of a project that you go out and get quotes and somebody presents a solution. I'm just going to tell you there's very little engineering that has actually been done at that point. That's great, it's a concept, it's a place to start. But if you're working with them as a partner, you have to leave room for discovery. As your partner's engineering team gets up to speed and learns a little bit more about your company and your processes, you have to leave room for that discovery, because they're going to learn some things. And I see it all the time that, this is what we quoted, this is what we've got to build.